When you have questions about Bible doctrines, turn to Matt Slick Live for answers. Taking your calls and responding to your questions at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
Everybody, welcome to the show. It's me, Matt Slick, and you're listening to Matt Slick Live, as always. Hey, if you want to give me a call, all you got to do is dial 877-207-2276. And if you want to email me, you can do that this lovely Friday. That's easy. Just send an email to info@carm.org, info@carm.org. Put in the subject line radio comment or radio question or Matt's a doofus, something like that. It'll get through, and then we can get to them on the air when we get slow with the callers. And speaking of callers and stuff, as you guys know, I'll be out, Lord willing, in North Carolina, Kannapolis, next week, speaking at a conference. And we're going to have some guests on here, one now and some others later next week, talking about it. And let's get on with Laura. Laura, are you there?
Hello, I am. How are you?
I'm fine, hanging in there.
All right.
So,
good to talk to you.
And nice talk. We met before. I remember at different conferences and stuff with George. I think we have. I'm going to make sure. Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, at least some online conferences. We've definitely spoken together.
Yeah, because you're familiar. So we're going to be doing this conference, and George asked, and I totally agreed. That was a great idea. Have you on here and there on the radio, and we could talk about the stuff you want to talk about, and what we're going to be doing at the conference. Let's start with that, or introduce yourself first, who you are and your experience and things like that, and we'll take it from there. Go ahead.
Okay. Sure. My name is Laura Zeifer Powell. I am a follower of Jesus and a Christian apologist. I speak at conferences and teach and write and disciple young women. And I seek to live out the gospel every day. And in all that I do, I love sharing the reasons for the hope that we have, of course, as an apologist, with anyone who's interested. And I think I have a pretty unique background with respect to Islam. I actually never really set out to become an expert in Islam or to specialize in Islam, but I kind of took on one, I guess, assignment, you might say, at a time. And next thing I knew, it had been 20 years of gaining experience and everything on Islam and ministry to Muslims. So it all kind of started with when I was working with Engineering Ministries International, and I was asked to train up a team that was preparing to launch to somewhere in the Middle East. We didn't really know where. And so I spent some time in some different Middle Eastern countries and started reading the Quran, took a graduate level course on Islam, and I would just meet with the team and share what I was learning, and they would share what they were learning, and we just kind of did it all together. And a year or so later, the team launched, and I thought, okay, so what's my next topic? What's my next assignment? But that's not exactly the way it went. I was then asked to come to Afghanistan and then to Greece, where Muslim refugees were crossing over from Turkey, fleeing from Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan. And then I ministered in Clarkston, Georgia, in the refugee community to Muslims there for about 5 years. And I was asked to join Women in Apologetics as their Islam ministry specialist. And so I saw each of these as kind of one, just kind of one isolated assignment, like I said, and but that, it's turned out to be a 20-year process.
Wow, I'm sure you've learned a great deal.
It's been a lot of fun.
Okay, so you said you've been in the Middle East. I've been to Turkey and Israel, and Bible tours, but never really got to meet the people really and talk to them very much. I did find out or did experience the Muslims were nice, very, very. At least in Turkey, they were very hospitable. Enjoyed the time there. So you got me kind of curious. Afghanistan, you were there. How long were you there for? What was going on there?
I was there for about 6 weeks, and I was part of a team that was asked to do some design work, a team of engineers, but I was asked to come with that team, but for a bit of a different role. I was told primarily that the expat women who from Western countries, from all over the world, really, a lot of them were experiencing quite a bit of trauma and needed someone to talk to and share with and kind of debrief with, and so that was the initial and main objective. But I ended up having a lot of opportunities to minister to Afghan women as well, and it was really interesting. It's not surprising to me at all that you said that your experience, although Turkey is quite different from Afghanistan, but nonetheless, the fact that your experience in a Muslim country as a man, was really good, and you experienced a lot of hospitality. That was the experience of the men on my team, even in Afghanistan. At that, they would come back from each day talking about how incredibly hospitable the men were and how much fun they had sitting around the campfires, sharing adventurous stories and playing on military equipment and just having a blast together. And my experience as a woman, keep in mind, there's an incredible separation between men and women. So I wasn't going where the men were going. I wasn't talking to the people the men were talking to. I was spending all of my time with women in a different place. And my experience was incredibly different. The women and girls I spent time with were all, just severely traumatized. Many of them had been sold into marriage at 9 years old, married off to 50-something-year-old men when they were 9. And with that, those marriages consummated right away at 9 years old. They were one of many wives. Now, their husbands who were in their 60s or whatever had taken younger wives who they liked better. They were very distrustful of each other. Women are the enemies of each other because a husband can almost always take on another younger wife, and there was a ton of jealousy, and they would just all sorts of awful stuff like trying to poison each other and things like that.
Wow.
So yeah, it was kind of traumatic, I would say. Really a sad experience from the women's perspective. And but do we have time for a quick story?
Sure. Tell you what,
was pretty cool.
We're gonna have a break in 3 minutes, but I want you to stay on. This is really interesting. I'm very interested in the issue of the dynamics with the women, because that is really something I really would not have thought of. You really got me intrigued. But go ahead. Yeah,
Right.
just go ahead. What are we talking about?
Okay. Yeah. So I was one of the things I did was I was teaching English at a school for young girls in Afghanistan, and these girls, as young as 5 years old, were walking barefoot through the snow in the winter to get to class, just to have an opportunity to receive some sort of minimal education. They were risking their lives. It was not uncommon for schools that there weren't very many of them, but schools that would educate girls would be attacked. And I loved being there with them and teaching the children. They were so excited to be there and so grateful they were having a chance to, that their mothers had never had under the Taliban. This was when the U.S. military was there. And so it was 2009 and 10. Things were relatively peaceful. But probably my favorite times were when I got to spend time talking to the young female teacher who I was helping, and to my translator who was there with us all the time. So these were both like 19-year-old girls. And we would talk about our favorite holidays, our spiritual beliefs, what we wanted to do with our lives, how difficult life is for women in Afghanistan and everything else. And these girls, only teenagers, and yet many of their friends had been killed already. They showed me photo albums of all their friends who had been killed, usually by their own father or their own brothers, and for like honor killings and things like that. But one day it was really beautiful outside, and there had been this heavy snow the day before, and a white blanket of snow covered the grass and capped the mountains in the distance. The sun was shining, the skies were blue. It was just gorgeous. And we had been spending our days in this tiny little room, like the size of a walk-in closet in the U.S. It had one window that was covered by blinds. And during our lunch break, the teacher I was working with peeked out through the blinds, and she noticed it was really gorgeous outside. And she asked me, she said, Miss Laura, will you do me a huge favor? And she looked almost embarrassed to ask. Of course, I had been to a bunch of countries by that time, and so I was a bit skeptical of favors. I had been asked, will you do me the favor of marrying me or getting me an American passport? And I'd even been asked to hand deliver a screenplay to Steven Spielberg because, of course, if I'm American, I must know Steven. Wow. But so I said to her, well, why don't you tell me what the favor is and I'll see what I can do. And I couldn't believe it when this huge favor that she wanted was just to go for a short walk outside. And I told her, absolutely, yeah, let's do it. And she seemed a bit surprised. But she was like, oh, this is okay, great. Okay. And she was all excited. So we walked around the building and, we had a little like snowball fight, and it was really sweet and fun. And she came up and grabbed my arm and she said, this is the best day of my whole life. Thank you so much, Miss Laura. I will never forget this. Thank you. And she was just on the verge of tears and so happy. And so I asked her, aren't you able to come outside on nice days when I'm not here? And she said, no, of course not, because, the boys. And I knew what she meant. And it was obviously deeply honoring that I was providing the best day of her life. It was also incredibly sad to me that she cannot go outside. She can't even go outside by herself. And I experienced later in that trip what happens when you go outside by yourself for even a few seconds as a female. It was just unwise, I'll say, to put it briefly. But
they're physically assaulted.
As I reflected on, yeah. And so, I reflected a lot on that and thought, what is the difference? Like, these men on my team are willing to give their lives for me. My dad has always been, I've never had a doubt that my dad is willing to give his life for me. And what is, as I reflected on this, I realized Jesus makes all the difference. And he is the reason that so many of the men in my life are so amazing and kind and loving to women and children and to the vulnerable. Jesus is the reason the men in my life are warriors for truth and goodness and beauty. Jesus is the reason, for all that is good and excellent and praiseworthy. And so
can you hold on?
Who can transform lives.
We have a break, and just stay tuned because this is really good stuff. All right, please stay tuned. And we'll be right back, folks, after these messages. Please stay tuned.
Absolutely.
Money always follows vision and not the other way around.
This is True Commentary with Stu Epperson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
The good book says, where there is no vision, the people perish. So often we complain, I don't just have the money to start this ministry. I don't have the money to build this. I don't have the money to make all these things happen. Stop right there. You serve a great and mighty God. All the great visionaries, all the great Christian leaders from Mueller to Moody and on and on and on, hardly had two pennies to rub together, but they had a great vision and they served a great God, and they went and talked to him and trusted him and asked him to do great things. And God always provides the money and other resources where God guides in the vision. So get the vision part right first by going to him and asking great things of God, and watch the great things he will do in you and through you.
Join Stu on radio, social media, and his daily Truth Talk Live podcast. Learn more at truthnetwork.com.
I see you finally got a new helmet.
I did. Spotted cheap online.
Follow me. We'll turn off here.
I'm right behind you.
Watch the cars. They can be crazy.
Was this young man hit by a car?
Yes, and his helmet is smashed. It's a brand new helmet.
It's probably a fake. Fakes cause real harm. You're smart. Buy smart. Brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council and the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
When wolf?
Oh, a wolf. Oh!
What about the tiny dog? Cat. Owl. Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale.
Whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Each word is a testimony.
A million miles of my mistakes, so couldn't keep your love away. However far away I am from home, that's how far your love will go.
And his word is always true. It's Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. We are talking with Laura. Man, she's really got me hooked on some of the stories and some of the experiences that she has had in Afghanistan. Laura, you still there?
Yes,
Okay.
but you got really soft just now.
Well, there you go. Is that better?
Oh, there we go.
All right,
There we go.
no problem.
Yes, perfect.
So, all right. So these women, they're just punished.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It reminds me of the book Infidel by that woman, the Somali woman. I don't know if you've read it or not.
Yes, I have. Yeah, what's her name again?
I'm looking up for it.
I can't think of her name.
Ayan Hirsi Ali. Yes.
Oh, yes, that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Not the easiest name to remember.
No, it's not. I look it up. And I remember reading the book, and she was talking about the women who were they were just beaten, and you could hear them screaming at night, and you knew with the sound of their voices, and their bruises were hidden by what they would wear when they were allowed to go out with their, with the males and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, and she has actually become a Christian. I don't know if you
Really?
know that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. She had become an atheist, and she
Right.
was, very outspoken as an atheist, and good friends with Dawkins.
Okay.
Dawkins.
Yep.
I always forget his first name. Richard Dawkins.
Mhm.
But she has become a Christian, so that's really, really exciting. I love that. But
Wow.
yeah, it really struck me just that everyone needs to know the truth, that Jesus is the one who can transform not only individual lives, which is awesome, also entire families, though, and even in entire cultures. So, a lot of the behaviors that I've seen throughout the Muslim world are unacceptable in our culture, primarily due to the Judeo-Christian influence. And so everyone needs to know the truth. Everyone needs to know the reason for the hope that we have, both for this life and obviously for eternity. Eternity is a long time,
Yeah.
right? So whatever the cost, I have said to myself since then, whatever the cost, I have to tell them. And so that's why I participate in conferences like the one that you and I are speaking at pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you. Any other guys, I've talked to them before and been to
Yes.
some of the conferences with George. George, George is such a great guy. He really is.
He is wonderful, isn't he? He really is.
To me, he's one of the most humble guys I know, and I'm serious. He really is.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
He is such a blessing, and he has had such a huge impact, primarily in equipping and platforming others. And so most people don't know his name, but most people know the names of some of the people he equipped and raised up and gave opportunities to. So
yeah. I you guys, all of you speakers, you know a lot more about Islam than I do, but I can hold my own. But boy, you guys know a lot, and so I always feel bad when George invites me to go speak at one of the conferences. Like, George, you've forgotten more since lunch today than I've ever learned about Islam. And but he's so gracious. I do Christian theology and apologetics, and so, but he's great. All right. So I got a couple questions here for you. One is, well, more than one. Sure. We'll get bottom of the hour. We'll get the regular callers, but maybe we have some callers. I don't know if you have any callers who have any questions for you. Nope, and no. Okay. So, how can people get a hold of you?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. My website is laurazpowell.org. So that's LAURAZ. P as in Papa, OWELL.org, and there's a contact page to email me on that website. I also actually have a blog. A podcast called The Knight and Rose Show. It's KNIGHT, as in knight in shining armor, with my co-host Wintry Knight, and we talk about all sorts of topics related to Christian worldview. We both have a strong background in public policy. We talk about the policy through a Christian worldview lens, as well as traditional apologetics topics, evidence for an intelligent designer, for the resurrection, the crucifixion, consciousness, all sorts of things like that.
Whoa.
So,
when you said consciousness, you just, it's very rare that people discuss that as an apologetic issue. I'm impressed. Okay, so I get a question. Did you feel safe in Afghanistan? And the other one is, tell us about Islamic women coming to Christ and your experience with that. But did you feel safe in Afghanistan as a woman?
Right. No, not particularly. No. I'm in the U.S., I'm used to being pretty independent and pretty strong. And I have my concealed carry license and go to the shooting range to practice for, make sure I'm up on my skills. And I'm athletic. I've done CrossFit for years. I do martial arts.
Good.
And so people don't tend to worry about me too much. But I'm not the easiest target, you might say. But and also, I don't go to too many dangerous places. My lifestyle is pretty, it's just not that dangerous in the U.S. But in Afghanistan, I had to lean very heavily on the men on my team, the men I was traveling with, to walk in front of me and behind me, to look out for me, to think about me. And I was completely covered. I had very little peripheral vision. When we walked a lot of the places we went, and when in the few occasions that we were together, and the roads had like heavy deep potholes in them, and there was one occasion when I stepped in one of these potholes because it had been raining. I couldn't tell it was a deep pothole. I thought it was just a normal part of the street, and ended up with all sorts of feces and urine and everything else all over my long skirt. And the place where we were staying with an American family was not very far away. You could almost see it from where we were. And so I was told to go back and change my clothes and and just that the guys would be back later. They were just going to a local clinic to look at how things were done there, so that when they did their design, they wouldn't design something just way out of the ordinary for the culture. And so, just heading back, like maybe an eighth of a mile to the house where we were staying, as soon as I turned in the opposite direction from the team, and they couldn't see me anymore because there was like this big wall with median.
Okay, hold on. Good spot. You got another break, so you got to stay on afterwards.
No problem.
We want to hear what happens, because I'm like, okay, what happened? I'm visualizing it. So, folks, we'll be right back after these messages with Laura, and we'll be right back.
Money always follows vision and not the other way around.
This is True Commentary with Stu Epperson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
The good book says, where there is no vision, the people perish. So often we complain, I don't just have the money to start this ministry. I don't have the money to build this. I don't have the money to make all these things happen. Stop right there. You serve a great and mighty God. All the great visionaries, all the great Christian leaders, from Mueller to Moody and on and on and on, hardly had two pennies to rub together, but they had a great vision, and they served a great God, and they went and talked to him and trusted him and asked him to do great things. And God always provides the money and other resources where God guides in the vision. So get the vision part right first by going to him and asking great things of God, and watch the great things he will do in you and through you.
Join Stu on radio, social media, and his daily Truth Talk Live podcast. Learn more at truthnetwork.com.
My husband, Alex Hussey, was hit by an IED in Afghanistan.
I was point man on foot patrol, and I stepped on the bomb. Lost my legs and my left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories great and small.
Seeing Alex learning how to snow ski, that's life-changing.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex did it. He skied down this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
To see him on that slope and smiling like that, we'll be taking this home.
This has meant so much. Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken.
The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. The righteous person may have many troubles, but God is there every time. Your truth for today.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. And in 09, it was sparks from me, your chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by
It's Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. We're going to go back to Paula. Sorry, Laura. I would look at Laura Powell when I say Paula. Laura Powell in a second. I just want to let you know that she and I and others will be speaking at the Ministry to Muslims conference in Kannapolis, North Carolina, which is just a little bit north of Charlotte. And we'll be doing that next weekend. If you want more information on that, all you have to do is go to Ministry to Muslims. That's 20, not the number 2, but ministrytomuslims.com and check it out. All the information you need is right there. And please, hopefully we'll see you there. All right, let's get back on with Laura. Are you still there?
I am, yes.
Okay, now we're in suspense. All right, you're walking. So go ahead.
Yeah, so as soon as I turned away from the group of men who continued walking in one direction, and I was walking in the other direction, and there was a wall that separated us, so that I couldn't see them, they couldn't see me. Men in their cars started rolling down their windows and driving over close to me and grabbing out the window, like trying to grab me, and yelling at me. I didn't understand what they were saying, but you know when someone's not trying to help you or do you a favor.
Right.
So it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. I ran as fast as I could, probably as fast as I've ever run in my life. And I'm a pretty fast runner, but I ran all the way back to the house with cars, like, men in their cars coming up to me, kind of trying to grab out the window, until I got within sight of the guards who guarded the house where we were staying. And then the cars just kind of drove off and went away. And the guards let me in, and I went in and slammed the door and just started bawling, crying. I was so scared. I was shaking. And the family we were staying with helped me out and everything. But yeah, I think, the men felt terrible, of course, but they're Americans, and they were used to, like, why would a strong, athletic woman not be able to walk an eighth of a mile back to the house that's right there? We could, so but yeah, it is not safe for women. I knew I knew a couple of women who actually were kidnapped in Afghanistan a few years before I was there. And actually a friend of mine, Dr. Dilip Joseph, he was part of our team, that I'm just, when I was there. He actually was captured by the Taliban about a year or so later after that trip that he and I went on together, and was rescued by Navy SEALs. So even as a man, it's not a safe place, and that was about as safe as Afghanistan had been since the 1970s. Wow. It's a dangerous place for sure. You need to know what everybody said when I was there. The Westerners, would all say, or they would all say, don't come here unless you know that God is leading you there, because this place will destroy anybody unless you know that wow. God has you here for this time.
When I went to Jerusalem 7 years ago or so, there was an incident. This was in Jerusalem, where a mom, a grandmother, and a daughter, they were a little family. They were on their own going through a marketplace, and somebody approached them and asked how much to sell the daughter, the young girl, to. She's like 16 years old. And it terrified them. That's a short version of it. So what we learned to do right away was men were always to be with any groups of women. And we did that. And then, last year when I went, a friend of mine, Dave, he was ex-Border Patrol, martial artist, a whole bit. And so when we would go, the last trip, we went to Turkey, we went to Greece, and we went to Italy. Even in the Western style countries, we broke up. We would, put it this way, we'd make sure we were with the ladies and guarding them, and we would watch.
Excellent.
Just what had to be done. And so he and I were aware, but a lot of others weren't. But at any rate, okay, look, I got to ask you. You got me going here. Okay, this is good stuff. Okay, I love stories like that. And and as brave that you were and doing God's work, and I'm glad that you're safe and you're back. But I am curious about Islamic women. Are they very receptive to the gospel?
That is a great question. I was surprised that, given all that they had been through, that they weren't just desperately hungry for the good news, for truth. But most of my experiences have been that women do seem a lot more open to the gospel when they're living in Muslim majority countries. versus in the U.S. where things are a bit easier, and they kind of have, I guess, they get to keep their religion, and there's no real cost to being a Muslim in the U.S. for most people, I would say, and yet they have the opportunities, the freedom, the opportunities to earn a good living and be safe and all of that. But in Muslim majority countries, they're a bit more intrigued and open to it, although there is a very, very high cost. And that's probably the main reason there wasn't more openness. But what I saw and heard a lot of was women having dreams and visions of Jesus and then speaking out the truth and becoming Christians that way. So that actually is, so I go out, I like Greg Kokel's phrase, I'm looking for the people who are looking for me. That's kind of what I'm doing. I share with everybody, but if people are just clearly, adamantly closed and do not want to know, that's fine. That's their decision. But I'm looking for the people who are open, who are looking for me, who want to know, to invest the most time and risk and such into.
I have a friend who I don't really talk about him very much because I don't want him to get in trouble, but he's got fatwas against him. Long story short, he knows what he's doing about Islam and speaks against it, was working with the government translating. And long story short, anyway, he told me that he was listening to Al Jazeera. This is 10 years ago. And Al Jazeera in Arabic was saying that they've got to do something about the thousands of people on a weekly or monthly basis are converting to Christ in the Islamic countries because of visions and dreams. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. I hear about it all the time. Yeah. So, yeah. And usually the dream will come first, and then they'll seek out a believer and ask for the truth and read the word. That's kind of the most common story I hear.
Wow. I've also heard that the biggest underground Christian church in the Middle East is in Iran. I've heard that more than once.
Yes, I've been hearing that a lot lately too, right? That's remarkable. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, the people of Iran are rejecting Islam en masse. They're just done with it. Even people who have not become Christians, a lot of them are atheists now. Right. They may have to say publicly that they're Muslims, but the majority, I'm told, is not Muslim anymore.
I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, we got about a minute left before this break. Then we'll just get to callers and so no big deal for regular stuff. But what are you going to be speaking on at the conference next week?
I will be speaking on Christ's finished work with the main focus will be the crucifixion, evidence for the crucifixion, because the Quran says Jesus was not killed or crucified. So I'll present evidence for the crucifixion, which is abundant. We'll talk about what most Muslims believe happened to Jesus and how to have conversations with them about those sorts of topics.
Oh, good. I'll probably sit in some of your classes. If I'm not teaching one over someplace, I'll be sitting and listening. The last one I went to in Anaheim.
Sounds great.
Oh, it was great. The last one, you were there, I think, in Anaheim last year, it was fantastic.
Actually, you know what? I ended up not going. I was hoping to go, but I had another commitment I was speaking at another conference that I had committed to at the same time. So I did hear about it. But yeah, the Armstrong Tower conferences are always excellent.
Yes.
So I'd encourage anybody and everybody to check it out. In fact, right now, tickets are free of charge. These are $50 tickets to excellent speakers, and right now, free of charge. So I'd encourage everybody to go to ministrytomuslims.com and get those tickets.
All right. There's the music. Thanks a lot, Laura. Really appreciate it. You're awesome. Thanks for the stories. I'm looking forward to meeting you next week. Good
My
stuff.
pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. God bless. God bless. All right. That was good. I liked it. So, hey, folks, we got callers waiting. We'll be right back. Get to those calls, and God bless. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken.
The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. The righteous person may have many troubles, but God is there every time. Your truth for today.
Money always follows vision and not the other way around.
This is True Commentary with Stu Everson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
The good book says, where there is no vision, the people perish. So often we complain, I don't just have the money to start this ministry. I don't have the money to build this. I don't have the money to make all these things happen. Stop right there. You serve a great and mighty God. All the great visionaries, all the great Christian leaders from Mueller to Moody and on and on and on, hardly had two pennies to rub together, but they had a great vision and they served a great God and they went and talked to him and trusted him and asked him to do great things. And God always provides the money and other resources where God guides in the vision. So get the vision part right first by going to him and asking great things of God and watch the great things he will do in you and through you.
Join Stu on radio, social media, and his daily Truth Talk Live podcast. Learn more at truthnetwork.com.
Hi, I'm Fuad Reves. I'm a home builder, and I have a question for all of you out there who are building your dream home. Are you making plans so your home will have healthier indoor air? It's an important question because there's a deadly invisible radioactive gas that can seep into homes from underground. It's radon gas, and when you breathe it in, it can cause lung cancer. Among non-smokers, radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer. The good news is that it's simple to build a home, so radon is not a problem. Building your home radon resistant is a good, inexpensive way to stop radon from entering your home. Any builder can do it. So protect your family. Talk to your builder. Tell them you want a healthier, safer dream house. You'll have better dreams.
Learn more. Visit the EPA at epa.gov/radon. That's epa.gov/radon. This public service announcement is brought to you by...
It's Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
All right, everybody, welcome. Whoops. There we go. Welcome back to the show. If you want to give me a call, it's easy, but we have 3 people waiting, so let's just get to them first. Longest waiting is Jermaine from North Carolina. Jermaine, welcome, buddy. You're on the air.
Hey, man, it's actually North California, but that's
North California. Oh, because it's NC up there. Yeah, I thought so. I'm like, no, that doesn't quite make sense. Okay, what do you got, buddy? What's up, man?
yeah, just it was a fascinating conversation. I almost hated to ask the question, but yeah, another time. I wanted to ask you about if you've ever heard of a guy. I think his name was it was Corey Mahler. He's kind of gotten a fan response, I guess, from people who think like him, but he basically had the premise that God cannot sanctify everybody right now. Like salvation, yes, but sanctification, no. In particular, blacks and other minorities. And he had a fascinating debate with James White a couple of months ago that I watched, and it made me think of you, just wishing that we kind of got a piece of him, because his theology was way out there. Is there any justification for what he's saying, that God cannot sanctify everyone in this lifetime?
See, when just logically speaking, when you say the word cannot, what sense cannot God do something? Cannot because he's limited himself, cannot because he's powerless to. So I would always ask for clarifications and things like that. But the issue of sanctification, I don't see any limit in the capability of God being able to save and sanctify whoever he wants. He's not limited by skin color or age or IQ or location. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess you'd have to really check him out to really get an appreciation for what he's trying to say. But he's attempting to make a scriptural argument that because you see some people in various states of disarray, and usually he picks the worst examples of what he's trying to use as an example, saying that, you know, perhaps it's that God just won't sanctify them. But I've seen the opposite of what he's speaking of, and it just makes no sense. You know, even attacking things like IQ and genetics, it just seems like an attempt to justify some pretty racist beliefs with scripture. But he's saying they could be saved, they just can't be sanctified. And
what?
You know,
How can you be? Doesn't make any sense. How can you be saved and also not sanctified as part of the salvation thing that God does with us? He lives in us at our justification, salvation. Then he starts working to sanctify us. So it makes no sense. You got to send me some information on who this guy is. So I tried looking his name up. I couldn't find anything. So if you could send me his name or a URL or something, I wouldn't mind checking him out. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think you should. And honestly, I truly pray that you're able to. I'm pretty sure he would love to engage in a debate with you. I think I know what would happen, but he's one of these people that I think some good, solid, you know, scriptural wisdom would really do well to help other people. Because I think the issue that people run into is they're saying they're Christian and they are, but they're not reading enough to dispute some of this nonsense that is coming out of this guy's mouth. And he's just well read enough to throw people off. I don't think that would happen with a lot of folks who are just simply reading their Bibles. But you know, he's in my opinion caused a lot of damage. So if you haven't heard of him, then send me some information.
Yeah, send me some information. Okay, info@carm.org. And heck, dude, while you do that, send me your phone number and I'll give you mine. We'll stay in contact and stuff like that. But I want to research this guy because I'm always intrigued as well as appalled by anybody who would say that there's racist based on skin color issues related to salvation and God's work. To me, it's fascinatingly stupid. To me, it is. Really, I want to hear about this because I can't believe people believe it, you know? It's so dumb. It's like, tell me some more. I want to know. Just take notes for a half hour. I'm not going to argue. I just want to know. And so, wow. Yeah, send me the information, man. I want to find out. Okay?
I sure will. And I'll be praying for the upcoming conference you'll be speaking at. I think that's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I know you're in Cali, but hey, start driving now. You'll get there. All right?
I think I'll take a virtual plane ticket.
Okay. All right, man. Sounds good, brother. All right. Yeah, send me that info. I'm curious.
God bless you. Have a good week.
You too, man. God bless. Wow. Really, seriously. I'm being just bewildered. I have encountered people, and I've talked to them, and half the time I don't even do apologetics on them because I'm just so stupefied. It's like, how do you believe that? Wow, it's amazing to me. Let's get to Brian from Texas. It's a little long time waiting, Brian. 38 minutes, but welcome.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for what you do. I lean towards, I go back and forth, but I lean towards a single predestination.
Okay.
But what I wanted to ask you was in 2 Peter 3:9, where Peter says that God wants all to come to repentance. Now, a lot of times people who do believe in free will and do not believe they believe that predestination is basically for serving, they'll go to that verse and use it. And if someone did that, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, I've talked on this verse and other verses at length. And we don't have a whole bunch of time here, so let me just give you some quick and slick kind of responses. I ask people, what do they mean? What do they think the word all means? And they'll tell me varying things. And they're always going to say, well, it means every individual who ever lived. And I'll say, okay, so then in that case, would Jesus or God do anything in such a way so people would not be saved? And they say, of course not. They always say that, of course not. Then I take them to Mark 4:10 through 12, where Jesus speaks in parables so people will not be saved. I say, now, can you harmonize those? Now, I can harmonize them, but I'm just saying, I want to see what they're doing, what they know. And then I dig. That's one of the ways I dig. So the all what I believe it means is all people groups, not just each individual, because Jesus was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, Matthew 15:24. It's a covenantal aspect. So he wants all to come to repentance, not just the Jews, but all kinds of people, all sorts of people, all those people groups. And we see God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. Well, that would be strange to the ear of a Jew who understands that Jesus is sent to the people of Israel, because Jesus even said he was only sent to them. But since they broke the covenant, then the Gentiles, the whole world, was then grafted in, or, well, appealed to for the salvation offer. That's one thing. There's another sense where the all is a limited group. And it's the all of the elect. And I can make that case from Romans 5:18, 1 Corinthians 15:22, and 2 Corinthians 5:14. These are verses that I go to, and I can't go through them right now because we don't have much time, but I can go through and show where all can only be in the relationship of the atonement. I can show that the all can only be the believers and not everybody. I can actually show that. I've shown it many times to people, and they've said, "Oh my goodness, I never saw that," and I show it to them. And so there's that. And then there's another sense in which I'm just giving you options, but there's another sense in which where God can prescriptively desire something but not arrange it. He can desire that you not lie, and he wants all to be saved, but doesn't arrange that all are saved. And he can do that. And then there's stuff in the Old Testament, which I go through in my notes because I don't have it all memorized, where God desires one thing and arranges another. And I prove it to people from Scripture. And they're just blown away. And I say, look, this is something you got to understand, is that you can't just look at a verse like 2 Peter 3:9 or 1 Timothy 2:5 and say the word all means every individual and we're done. How does God use the term? That's what we want to know. And then I take them sometimes to John 6:37 through 40, where it says, where Jesus says, all that the Father has given me will come to me. Well, who's that all? Who's the all? Well, I would go to Ephesians 1:4, where it says, he chose us in him before the foundation of the world. And I'd say all that the Father chose and gave to the Son. So anyway, what I did was I just gave you like 4 or 5 different ways of looking at this and different theological approaches. Now, the reason I did that is because this is all in the back of my head, all these things in the back of my head when I'm talking to somebody. So if they bring up 2 Peter 3:9, what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to say, well, what do you think the word all means? I'm digging. I'm fishing. What do they believe? If they say it means every individual, then I'm going to go to, like I said, Mark 4:10 through 12, or I might go to 1 Samuel 3:14, where God says, I've sworn to the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be atoned for by sacrifice or offering forever. And I say, what do you do with these? And this is what I'll present to them and ask them for solutions to these apparent difficulties, because it'll tell me, their answers will tell me what level of understanding and experience they have with these kinds of things. And then I'll tackle it from there. All right, having said all of that, the first thing I recommend you do is simply ask questions. Start with, what do you think it means and why? And see if what they say it means can be supported in Scripture. A lot of times what people will do is just assume a certain word means something. God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. The word world means every individual. And I say, how do you know that? How do you know? Psalm 5:5, Psalm 11:5, God hates those who do iniquity. So how do you know that the word world? And I say to them, it might be true. It might not be true. Just saying it doesn't mean it's true. Please show me from Scripture that that is what it means. And I say, I'm not mad. I'm not challenging you and trying to, make you look bad. I'm just saying, have you thought this through and ask how to validate that idea is the right one? Because if you can't do it from Scripture, it's a weakened opinion that you have. And that's how I work with them. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. And thank you, and I appreciate that. And I'll probably go back and listen to this again and take notes from it. But if you were to recommend like a resource, like I know you have some things on CARM there, but like a book or something that you think that succinctly addresses this in a good way?
I don't have a book. I need to write something on this, on just this. However, I do have another website where some of this is written, where I've gone through some of this stuff, and it's the CalvinistCorner.com, just CalvinistCorner.com. And, I'm a Calvinist, and if you're not, that's fine. I'm not trying to push you to that. It's not okay, whatever. But in there, I have articles. Does God want all to be saved? All men saved? And there's various articles that'll go through a lot of this stuff that I've mentioned. And you can find a lot of good stuff in there. There are deeper articles than I put on CARM generally. Okay. So
okay, thank you for telling me that.
All right. And check it out. Read through some and give me a call back sometime and say, I really like this article and that other one bothered me. And I'll say, well, okay, why? Tell me what's up. We'll talk. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good weekend, sir.
You too, man. God bless. Oscar waited 44 minutes. I think that's the longest we've ever had anybody wait. He says, do people go to hell because of sin or lack of eternal life? Both, but it's because of sin and judgment. Call back Monday, Oscar from New York. I apologize. We'll get to you earlier. Have a great weekend, everybody. May the Lord bless you, and by His grace, back on the air on Monday, and we'll talk to you then. God bless.
Whoa. Okay. Let's see.
Test 1, 2. Good. You can hear me there. And let's look over here. And you hear me, Laura? What? What'd you say? Yeah, that's right. I love doing that to people. I remember, like I told you before, that one time a guy told me his major was communication, and I said, what? And he says, it's communication. I said, what? Oh, wait, my ears, what? He says, communication. He called me a jerk after he figured it out. You're a jerk. And I'm laughing. All right, Andrew, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, finally. Matt, I apologize for yesterday.
Hey, no big deal. We were laughing at you behind your back. It was no big deal. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, Matt, I genuinely tried and tried
It's all right.
to. I mean, I knew you could hear me, but I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear.
It's all right. No big deal. We understand tech things happen. So how's it going in Wales? What's up? You married yet? Got kids?
What's that?
Are you married yet? You got kids?
I'm afraid not. I'm still waiting to meet the right lady, I'm still waiting for God to bring us together.
Yeah, you can go to CalvinistBrides.com.
CalvinistBrides.com?
You'd be predestined to meet them. Yeah, CalvinistBrides.com. You'd be predestined to meet the right woman. It's a joke.
She'd have to live. I know you're having me on, Matt Slick.
It's fun. CalvinistBrides.com. Oh, the opening statement, you're predestined to be here. See, I think that'd be good. And then, the opening line, for a girl, I think it's been meant to be that we talk. All these lines would work.
And I'd be like, "You poor, poor soul."
That's right. Yeah, that'd be a lady's response. Yeah, it's predestined to suffer. So there you go.
Suffer. You hear me? Suffer.
That's right.
Like that.
Oh. All right. So, okay.
So you were asking me yesterday after I watched the playback. You asked me how things were yesterday,
That's
and
right.
I got to tell you, Matt, I'd been feeling extremely low, really, really low. Didn't want to
Stand
do
up.
it. Didn't want to do anything. Couldn't be bothered for anything. You know, I was feeling like really, really low. But as you can understand, that's probably grief. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
But that's
I had a
okay.
bad day.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta feel low for a while and get through it, and then you move forward. Yep.
That's right. Now, Matt, uh, I, I sent you a message on Messenger, but I did not expect you at all to have a look at it because I know how busy you are. All I can say is I'm so darn thankful that I got sound on my end, so I can hear you.
Good.
What I wanted to ask you was, I have a friend. In fact, I have some friends who say they are Christians, but they also say that the Vatican has changed the Bible like it's nobody's business. That's what they say.
Okay.
Now I
Then
don't believe now I roll my eyes at that, and of course, you know, I'm like, you know, that's just complete nonsense. I mean, you know, you go for the manuscripts that have gone all throughout the Mediterranean and all that nonsense, and you know, to say that the Vatican has
okay.
changed the Bible. I mean,
Just
how?
ask them for the documentation. That's all.
Yeah, they'll just say it's hidden in the Vatican or whatever.
Oh, we call that non-falsifiability. So there's a UFO on the other side of Hale-Bopp comet coming to take us away.
Yeah,
Can you prove it? No. Can you disprove it? No. It's called non-falsifiability. So you just say to them, "I'm sorry, but say it's hidden. How do you know it's hidden?" You know, it's ridiculous. All right.
yeah, but I have heard that the Catholic Bible, the Roman Catholic Bible, does change the command in Exodus where it talks about idolatry. You know,
Yeah, it does. They broke up the commandments there. Yep, to suit their needs. Absolutely correct.
yeah. So when they say like the Vatican changed the Bible like it's nobody's business, I think that's what they meant.
Well, if it's nobody's business, how would they know?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you know, they use that as an expression.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I would
Yeah,
ask them. Nobody's business? Yeah, then why are you getting in their business? That's what I'd ask them. And I'd say, give me some documentation. If you don't have documentation, then here's what I'm going to say. Next. Go on to the next person.
yep.
Okay.
Or like a grumpy old man in a cartoon where they go next,
That's right.
but only they shout it.
That's right. Well, good, man. It's nice seeing you.
Oh, thank you, Matt. It's been so rough, Matt. And you know, I haven't taken I haven't been able to take my tablets since Sunday, the day before I came home from holiday. That's had a bad effect on me as well. You know, what with my mood and everything, what with grief as well.
Excuse
So,
me. Oh, sorry.
but I that's okay. I'll call you out if I catch you sleeping in class, Matt.
No, it just happened. It's my first yawn. Is it first yawn today? I think. Anyway, don't take it personally. Just a yawn.
I know that's all, mate.
Okay.
No, but I went down to get our tablets. You know, I take sertraline for my anxiety.
Okay.
and of course I have lansoprazole to counteract the heartburn that the sertraline kind of gives me as well. So that helps. And if I'm like if I'm having a really 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 bad day, bad bout, then I take diazepam. But I only take diazepam, so
Hey, you know what? My wife for a long time was having really bad heartburn. It's called dyspepsia. And we
Yeah.
found out, of all things, this does not sound like it's a good idea, but it is. It's apple cider vinegar with mother. And you take that. It sounds like I'm joking, but we heard that. And we're like, no, that's acidic. It'd make it worse. And I don't
Yeah.
understand the chemistry, but it gets it really fast. It knocks it down really fast. So literally, my wife will be sitting there and she'll say, "Oh, I've got really, it's really heartburn." I'll say, "You want some apple cider vinegar?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I take that much water, in a cup like that big around, just a little bit, a cap full.
Yeah.
1 or 2 capfuls and put it in there. I've done it too. It works. Anyway, just saying. Okay.
Just
It does. Isn't that weird? Because you wouldn't think it would work, but it does. Well, why don't you just blend the tomato and the orange together? I'll give it a shot, see what it tastes like, see how far I could spit it out.
So that's your choice of gun then.
What's that?
That's your choice of gun then. When you say you're gonna give it a shot.
That's right.
And then
That's right.
if it's not, it's like
I'm gonna miss my carry when I go to North Carolina. I'm gonna miss it. But at any rate, it's all right.
just for everyone else, I apologize. I'm talking like incessantly and nonstop.
It's all right.
But like I said, I've been going through a very rough time. My mother too. All of us, who are left, are going through it. So please keep us in your prayers. And oh, Matt, it's just such a blessing I'm able to talk to you again, man. Seriously.
Well, yeah, it's been a while, but nice talking to you too, man. I'm glad things are a little bit better. That's all right.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll just boik off now and give other people a chance.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Thanks
Sounds
for
good.
having me.
All right.
Love you, Matt, and everyone here.
All right.
Bye.
Let's get to Buskman. Ben. Hey, Buskman, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, it's good to see you, Matt. Sorry you can't see me, but this old machine will not be recognized by EVMux, but I get it.
Okay.
I really want you to check in. I put it in the chat there on Rumble. Check out a young lady. She lives in Butler County here in Ohio. She's awesome. Her name is Anaz, which is Aynaz, but she goes by Annie, Anni Cyrus. Check out her Substack, Matt, before you do that conference. She has so much awesome information on everything Islam, Sharia law.
Okay. Tell you what, you're going to have to email me that info. I want you to
I can do that.
Do it right away. I'll go check. I'm always looking for more information. I've written a great deal. I've studied Islam a lot. But yeah, there are people who just know stuff. There's a difference between studying it and knowing through it, living it. Yeah. So that's,
Annie Cyrus, Matt, will be a huge, huge help to you on everything Muslim. She gets invited to churches all around. And so, I'll email it to you. If Laura would have let me, I never post bogus links, and I get why she doesn't want them in the chat, but I would have posted it in the Rumble chat for you. But her name is Annie Cyrus. She's a journalist. Her story is tragic, Matt. I mean, she was sold as a child bride by her dad, which is allowable in Islam. And in her teens, I want to say when she was 17, she finally, got fed up with Sharia law and Islam and fled to America with just a suitcase. And it's an incredible story. And she is just an amazing woman. I want to say she's probably in her lower 40s. But I'll shoot you that information, brother.
all right. Yeah. I want to check it out. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, man. Well, God bless,
Sounds good.
Matt.
All right. God bless. Send me that info. All right.
Will do. Bye.
All right. I guess that's it. I'm going to get going. And it's 1:15. I'm going to check on the wife and relax a little bit. I might do a walk around the block. I did 5 miles yesterday. So we'll see. All right. God bless everybody. Okay. Yeah, I want to check her out, because I want that information, excuse me, from the inside. All right. Good stuff. All right, everybody. I'm out. God bless. Have a great weekend. Talk to you guys on Monday, Lord willing.